now. Phil, there he is. So Phil, I was just talking about you before you jumped in. So I knew you were coming tonight, but I did say to the guys when we referenced last year, and if anything wants to compare to last year, that you'd happily jump in and help out. So yeah, but look, we'll make a start. Just let me share this screen. So it's really great to have you all here, actually, and I'm hoping that this might be something that we can do ongoing, especially over the next few months. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, let me see if this works, because otherwise, and I promise this is not death by PowerPoint. PowerPoint for me is a cue for something, to remember what to say. That's all it is. And I use lots of pictures because I hate lots of words, which leads me to my first point. So, and I really hope to give you a sense of brutal simplicity. The more you read those documents, the more questions you ask, and they can just get really confusing. What I really hope to do is really distill this down into a really, really simple version. So you walk away going, right, that's what it is. And I feel really confident in moving forward. The other one, obviously, that I want to talk about, and we'll talk about as we go through, is not just the rules and regulations, but I think we're still going to have a real sense of agility in going forward. I think anyone who thinks that COVID's just going to go away, and, you know, I know there were promises there'll be no more lockdowns. You know, when you read the fine print, there absolutely will be more lockdowns. It'll just be on a smaller level. So we just really need to be ready for that. And, you know, start thinking now about what that looks like. So my phone's just going off, which means someone's stuck. Oh, can you please let me into the chat? There we go. Just hang on 2 seconds. I'll do just a quick check. How am I doing this now? Oh yeah. You
run that back.
Admit all. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So they're all in. Let me move this over to there so I can see it, and then we'll start again. Okay. So is it still full screen for you guys?
No, we're doing what?
You can see the whole screen, the presentation?
Yep.
Yeah, great. Okay, so God, I love technology. It is just an absolute pain in the ass, isn't it?
You're doing well. You're doing well.
Oh, I could just ditch tech and just meet you all in the park for a beer, and it will be so much better. I could just tell you the same thing. Is that appropriate? All right, so let me just okay. Can you see clear guidelines for communication now?
No.
I can see brutal simplicity and agility.
Yeah, it's jammed. Hang on a sec. I'm just going to go back and start again. Hang on 2 seconds. Just talk amongst yourselves.
How you doing, Phil?
All good. All good. Yeah.
Good. Happy to be retiring?
Sorry?
Are you glad to be retiring?
Who's retiring?
He's not retiring. He's not allowed yet.
No. We're going to put him to work.
I got plenty of sneaky games to play.
No way he's retiring. Even when he is retired, he's not retiring.
Something like that.
I've got him on speed dial. Okay, let's try again. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it on this screen, okay, because it's just a punish otherwise. I won't make it full screen. So, yeah, so just really keeping it simple. So we had this catch up today with Sport New South Wales. So one of the sports asked, when will the guidelines be released for community sport in particular, and what we can and can't do? And I guess given the mess that has happened over the last couple of days with all things New South Wales government, they have said that they are up for review and they should have them by the end of the week, but they are largely based on what they were last year. Don't expect any changes from it, was literally the words. So once I have them, I will share them with you. But I think all that they'll change is kind of the addition of what happens at 70 and 80%. That will be it. Yeah, so, and that was a direct conversation between Ross Bidencorp and the minister. So it's not going through various channels. That's pretty direct, sports minister. So I just want to stress to everyone, like, I'm going to tell you what we know and what the rules are, but ultimately it's going to be your decision as to when you open up your dojo. I know a few people are really busting down the door to get there, and that's okay, because I think with the way the rules are written from the 11th, you technically can. But I'll give you kind of an opinion on that to play a little bit safe. But look, ultimately it's your decision, it's your business, and we'll do everything we can to help you. So just keep that in mind, that, you know, when I'm not going to be saying to you open on this day tonight, I'm going to be giving you all the bits and pieces around it. And I'm not trying to dodge a bullet. I'm just trying to give you the best advice. So one of the things that everyone asked today, and I have asked over and over again, is what is actually the definition of community sport, because this is the difference between opening on the 11th or opening once we get to 80%. No one can give me an answer. And I know another couple of sports asked today, what is community sport? So I went digging to find the closest thing, which I think is in our favour. So the definitions document of New South Wales sport, the government sport, you know, they're right there in front of you. So we fall into those things. There's no reference to community in there. What they're saying, though, is community sport is referencing the competition element. So we're talking about us having a tournament or us having an NRL, you know, like footy on the weekend and stuff like that. That is not allowed. Any form of competition is not allowed. So other sports have returned to training and are open about it. So I know Surf Life Saving have a policy in front of us, which I read, that says you can return to training in the boat and all that sort of stuff. So there are actually other sports returning to training. Now they're doing it under the guise of recreation. Wow. Right? So this is a choice that you need to make, is, are you training for competition purposes or are you training for recreational purposes? That's completely your decision. But you can see which one has you starting on the 11th and which one has you starting on the 18th. To make it really obvious, if you're just training for recreation, you can open on the 11th. Okay? Subject to your venues. Sorry?
How is that policed at all? Can they police that at all?
No.
Okay.
No. You're going to have to justify it, though, if someone does come knocking, right? So that's why I'm trying to give you the words. Not that I'm trying to, you're not doing anything illegal, right? But you are there for recreational purposes. Now, if you look at these definitions, that's why I'm giving you the reference documents to say I'm here for social sport, and you can say here is the term, right? It doesn't say community sport, which says it's not allowed. And active recreation is referenced there as well. Okay, so these are just things that you can talk to, which whoever comes to check will probably bamboozle them anyway. They're like, oh, just don't worry about it. But, you know, that's up to you. So there is definitely no one. I have also have in writing that from Sport New South Wales that they are unable to give us a definition of community sport. Whether that comes in the next week or so, we'll wait and see. That's the agility that goes with it. So this horrid document, I'm just going to try and make it a bit bigger for you, is really the one that I want to talk about right now. Okay, so I'll just go up a bit and across. So the first column is opens at 70% and reopens at 80%. Okay, so you can see here the words community sport is not permitted. Okay, so that's where if you want to open on the 11th or at 70%, then, you know, we're doing it purely for recreational purposes. I've circled and put a green section around this 80%. The 80% is only going to come probably a week or so after. So this is where I would encourage you to weigh up the risk. Okay, so sorry. Jump in if you've got questions, guys. I'm more than happy for you to do that. So it's a $5,000 fine if this all goes us up for you. But so are you better waiting? It is anticipated that it'll be the week of the 18th. Remembering too that it has to happen before the Saturday or the Sunday, because it kicks in on the Monday following. Okay, so if it happens on the Thursday, it won't be we open now. It happens on the Monday following. So the week of the 18th is pretty much a safe bet if you wanted to start communicating with your families and competitors and all that sort of stuff now. Okay, I know, Warren, you're planning to go this week. Do you want to talk about kind of your reasons as well as to why you're doing it? Is he there?
Yeah, look, the main thing is all around me, a lot of dance schools, gymnastics schools, yoga, other martial arts are all opening up. They're all opening up on the date of the 18th.
Yeah.
I mean, gyms are opening on the 11th, but most of the dance schools, gym schools, martial arts schools, yoga schools, most of them are waiting till the 18th.
Yeah.
I prefer to do that anyway, just give us a week to sort of get our head around the processes of, logging in, cleaning up the dojo, making sure all the processes and systems are in order before we rush into it.
That's right. Yeah. And we'll talk about all that sort of stuff in a second. So that's why I just wanted to give you guys the option at the start to talk about it. Certainly from my perspective and from a risk management perspective, I would be waiting till the 18th. And I would encourage you all to do that purely because the wording changes and it's just going to make your life so much easier. And remember too, we'll talk about this in a sec, what else is going on in people's lives as well. Like the 11th is only 6 days away. So just ask yourself the question, am I ready to go? As much as I really want to go now, am I really ready to go? So you can see other things happened around this 80% mark around indoor swimming pools opening, but only for lessons. So again, that's a recreational kind of thing, but there you can start to see the element of competition comes back into it as well. Now, once we get to the 1st of December, this is when I think we will start to have some challenges in society in general, and probably when you're going to be faced with the biggest questions around can people who are unvaccinated participate in judo? But I'm going to get to that in a minute and why we have a certain line that I think we should use to help protect you guys and just avoid really confrontational or probably what will be very emotional conversations as well, and try and help you around that. So this has been out in a public domain. It's the New South Wales state government. If it changes in a heartbeat, I will be the first to see it. So we usually get it as the press conferences are happening. And then the public health order usually follows about 24 to 48 hours after. So, and it comes directly to us. So if anything changes, I'm going to be kind of trying to dissect it as quickly as possible. Phil and I usually have a chat about it if something's not clear, and then we'll send it out as much as you can. So please just keep an eye on your emails and things like that. Is that clear for anyone? Does anyone have any questions around this at the moment?
No, but just I assume that your presentation, of course, will be downloadable or something once you finish.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah. Right.
No worries. And we're also recording it for those who missed it, so you can watch it again and listen to my voice for another hour if you're that keen. So the other one I just wanted to highlight on here was around events. Now, with specific reference to tournaments. So there's a couple of things I just want to talk about here is that we have a few local tournaments planned for the back end of the year. I'll be reaching out, as I have done, to a couple of clubs today just to talk about whether you want those events to go ahead. And if you do, that's okay. We're certainly not against it. We'll do everything we can to help support you, but I just want to make sure that they are going to be well supported and that your effort is rewarded at this time of year with everything else going on. So, we can have tournaments from 80%, which largely says to us, anything in November is very, very doable. And then from then on, obviously, providing everything goes to plan, we will get stuck into 2022 with a whole fresh start. So just have a read of that and the detail of it, because each of the tournaments, we will have to measure, are we going to go over the limit and things like that? I don't think we will, but we just need to make sure. And I'm really experienced, as is Phil, in putting together COVID plans for tournaments. I've done it for a 30,000 seat stadium and small functions. So yeah, happy to help put all that sort of stuff together if we do feel like it's something that you want to do. Okay, so the other thing that's really important, if you haven't done already, or just to update it, is to make sure that you're registered with the New South Wales government as a COVID safe business. This is the platform that essentially generates all your QR codes and everything else that you need. It also, I think, says to your club members that, yeah, we actually comply. There is some signage that comes with it that says we are a COVID safe business. I honestly think people, whilst you might not think they look for it, I think they will be. And I think for those who share venues in PCYCs and things like that, you're going to have to prove it. So I'm not going to make the assumption that you've already all done this. I can only strongly recommend that you do. It's not that hard. Just jump online. If you get stuck at all, I'm more than happy to help you. You just got to give me a shout and we'll just do it online together and then it's done. Yeah.
Beck, is the one that we had from last year, is that still eligible?
It's still the same thing. So if you need to update it though, please do. So if anything's changed. So I know a couple of venues, like Terry has reached out already, you know, he's having the issue that he's based in a school with Tiger Doe and he's not allowed back in yet, even when school opens. So we're going to have to help find him a new venue if he can't get back in by the time he starts. So we'd have to do another one, right? So just, if anything has changed, just jump on there and update it. Yeah. Or if you think you can do things better, that would be great. The other thing I just wanted to talk about completely from a business perspective for those who are receiving government support, you know, as a business, certainly Judo New South Wales is affected by this as a business. And I know some of you with, you know, kind of employee headcounts are as well. So just some things for your forecasting to be aware of is that JobSaver will be reducing and ending in the end of November. The COVID disaster grants, so those one-offs as businesses that some people may have been eligible for, will end. So if you haven't applied for it, I would strongly encourage you to jump on and have a go. They're only going to say no because once they go, they go. And they're just once-off payments. So it's certainly helped keep Judo New South Wales afloat and pay for the, you know, when there's no income coming in, it's kept the lights on, so to speak. So the one that's not so clear, and I just want to be really honest that I found it really confusing. So as soon as I get more information I'll share, is the one that's jointly funded by the federal and state government. So these are the people who are paid that $750 for loss of hours, separate to JobSaver. And it's been very public that the federal government will be taking that away once we hit 80%. But the New South Wales state government has said they will honour their share. So that's sitting now with Treasury, was the update today. And obviously they've got a new treasurer now. So that hopefully will be released towards the end of the week as to what that actually looked like. There have been specific requests for sports sector funding. Now, whether that actually comes off or not is another story, but certainly just keep an eye out for that. And as soon as I hear, I will pass that on. But just, I don't want anyone to be caught short that they're planning for things to keep coming through because this money is pretty important as well. And just checking on your, sorry, the other thing I didn't pop on there as a point was certainly with JobSaver now, you have to justify that you still are in minus 30%. To be able to be eligible for it, and that happens every 2 weeks. So if you miss it, you won't get paid. And the other thing they need to also make sure of is that you are still in a declared hotspot. If you're not, you won't get it. So just keep an eye out for stuff like that. Yeah, I hope that's really simple and really clear. So just to go back a bit, I'll make this a bit smaller now. So the rules, and you know, Phil, jump in anytime here just about, this is kind of based on what we know and what's important. And you'll probably go, yeah, we know this, Beck, but I just want to go over it one more time. So masks are not mandatory for kids in your dojo under 12 years. But anyone who walks in as a guardian, a parent, a spectator, or an additional coach who's not actually involved in physical activity must wear a mask, okay? Also to just be mindful though, with your social distancing in the dojo itself and around the mat, that one, like spectator counts as a person in the space. So whilst I'm not saying kick the parents out and stuff like that, just be mindful of your 4 square metre rule. But also don't leave yourself open to any issues around kind of, you know, member protection and things like that. You know, if you've got a class of underage kids, you need to make sure obviously that you've got, I would be making sure that I have another adult present. So just don't forget those people as well. So for adults, you can remove, just mind popping on mute. There's just someone rustling some papers, sorry. So the face mask, that's a typo there, exercising. They can be removed while you're on the mat, just like last time, okay? But Phil made a really good point, you know, don't take the mickey by leaving it off the whole class. If you're standing on the side of the mat and, you know, it's going to be 10 minutes before you get another go, pop it back on. Whilst, you know, I'm sure people won't be walking around policing it. If you are in a venue like the PCYC and things like that, I guarantee you they will be checking. They'll just be doing random walk-bys. So just make sure you're being diligent. And as the leader of the class and as the coach, it's your responsibility to make sure these are being adhered to as well. So, yeah, so make sure the 4 square metre rule, 20 people indoors and outdoors at the moment. And obviously hygiene practices, which Warren referred to. Just Veets makes a really good point around this, you know, just allow time for it in the class, make it fun and involve everybody. You know, give everyone a spray and wipe and whatever, and make sure that becomes, you know, the last few minutes of your class before you rotate the next people in as well. So as I mentioned, I think one of the hardest things will be when we hit the 1st of December and having everyone asks, do I have to be vaccinated to do judo? I just want to read this out so it's really clear. We don't actually have to have a position on whether you need to be double vaccinated or not, because the pathway to freedom or the pathway to, you know, that they've got through the 70 and 80% dictates that if you want to participate in these activities, whether that be judo or having a picnic or whatever, you must be double vaccinated. You want to enter these facilities, you must be double vaccinated. So it's taking the pressure off you as club owners to have to make that decision. And I think come the 1st of December, I'm hoping this line will be able to help. So along with Judo New South Wales, our club supports and will be adhering to the current public health orders in place by the New South Wales government. This is an essential requirement to be able to reopen and return to the mat. Our reopening plans are in line with New South Wales government's pathway to reopening plan. Then fob it off. If you wish to discuss the issue further, please take this up with your local government member or New South Wales Government Office for Sport. I've had about 4 other sports borrow that line now, because it really does kind of, and not what we want to deflect it, it just takes away your responsibility around dictating. Now, if you want to mandate it for your club, by all means, it is your club and you can run it however you wish. But at the moment, Judo New South Wales does not have a position on whether you should be vaccinated or not. We just support the health policy. Is that clear for everyone? Does anyone think that they'll have a problem? No? Great. And I think, you know, it will come up. As I said to someone today, I think it's going to be a bit of a class war, a bit like the Titanic. The people upstairs and the people downstairs. But look, all we want is for people to be happy and safe and well. So we'll do everything we can to support that. Yeah. That's kind of the COVID stuff and the rules and regulations. And I hope it is brutally simple. Anything beyond that, I think, you know, the more you read it, you think, but what about this and what about this? This is actually what it says. It's there in black and white. So if you don't overcomplicate it, I think you'll actually just get back on the mat and get going. Yeah. However, stepping back out of kind of COVID mode and into society a little bit more, I just want to be able to help potentially manage some expectations about what might happen. And this is just my experience, okay? So there's no research on this. It's just what I generally see that happens at this time of year naturally. So what we've got at the moment is I've never seen so many people having picnics in my life. Everything's called a picnic just for the fun of it. But a lot of people out and about, and you can see them all just rushing at it, okay, to be able to catch up even just with 5 people. I think what will happen on the 11th is we'll get an even greater rush, okay? So people will be able to go back to a pub, able to, you know, and your families will be able to catch up with their loved ones and stuff like that. So there's going to be this incredible social engagement around it, which obviously comes with its risk from a COVID perspective, but park that. We're just going to have to deal with what happens. People are going to be going back to school as of that week, and I know it's in a staggered way, and each school's different, but also to around that time, people are going to be heading back to the office in some degree. So enormous sense of getting back into routine, getting back into what life looks like again. So have a think about what impact that might have on your club and when you start your classes, because if you think about it just from a normal, I'm going back to school time, that first week is actually a bit crazy for parents especially, and for people heading back to work and just finding that routine. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying just be aware that you might not get that big influx of people that you're hoping for in those first couple of weeks, because it's not a fear, but it's a thought that I think people might just say, God, just give me a chance. I've just got to get all this other stuff done first and play catch up. So just understand that might happen. And I don't think it's going to be any reflection on the fact that they don't want to do judo. It just might be that it's just a bit of a crazy time. And they're going to squeeze it in. So everyone knows what this time of year is like without a pandemic. You know, I must get that done before Christmas. I must catch up with that person before Christmas. I've got to do this before Christmas, you know. A lot of women, you know, just completely as an aside, this is a time when women especially go into the mode of, I haven't lost those 10 kilos before Christmas, you know, like, and all that stuff. I've self-improvement and I've got to do this and I've got to start exercising more. It's actually a fantastic time to recruit athletes and people for your club from a self-development perspective. Because once you get to Christmas, so I just worry that, not worry, it doesn't keep me up at night, but maybe it will, is that we're going to have maybe possibly a slower uptake for people returning, and they may just say, oh, I'll just start in the new year. You know, we'll just all start in the new year and see how we go. I really hope I'm proven wrong on that, but I just wanted to raise it as a discussion point in case it does happen. And look, I've got no theory or no research to prove it other than just watching human behavior right now and what it looks like, and just that kind of little bit of craziness about it. The other thing that I just want us to really be prepared for, and, you know, whilst we were promised by the outgoing Premier that there'll be no more lockdowns, there absolutely will be. Without a doubt, I think it will be just refined to far more confined areas. And this is where I'm going to ask you as Judo New South Wales members and mates of each other and club, you know, cohorts, that we really need to chip in and help each other here when this happens. So my question for you to answer over the next week or so is, am I ready for that to go bang? Because they call it a snap lockdown for a reason, right? So how do I communicate with my members? What do I do? Am I equipped for it? You know, what does it mean for my fee structure? What does it mean on my income? You know, just do a scenario on, you know, far out, I've just been put into lockdown again. And I think they'll only be 7 days. I don't think they'll be much longer than that, but I'm certainly not sitting in the health department. But during this time as well, what can surrounding clubs do to help? So if it is just an LGA, you know, and a lot of our members come from one LGA to another, it would be just so great to think that clubs outside of that LGA can open their doors. And I know that that is known within judo that you can do that, but I don't think enough people know about it. So I think we should be very public in just saying, you know, guys, you're welcome to come and join us at our classes this week. Or are you set up with Zoom to go again? Or are you just going to say, if we go into lockdown, classes are postponed? And I think having those conversations with your members now is actually a good thing. You know, they'll be like, all right, shit, they're ready for it. They know exactly what's coming, because it's going to happen. And I just don't want to, be caught out. That's all. And when this happens, I mean, I'm going to be the, one of the first to hear it. I sit with the ABC on all day long. So it's something that I'll be onto, and I know exactly what LGA you're all in now because I've mapped it to know. So as soon as I hear one of them, my ears prick up. So Hilly, you've just come out of one again down in Albury, right?
Yes, that's right. We had a short one.
Yeah, was it 7 days?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And how did people react, like when it went again? Just so everyone else can, I mean, I know we've kind of had long ones in the metro areas, but, did they have the shits or?
No, things just went back to normal. It was kind of, yeah, okay, good. We're out of it and let's get back to work.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, so just be ready for that scenario plan. That's all you can do. So just in terms of events, for us as Judo New South Wales, I've had quite a few questions around, will we be having our downgrading? Now, those dates are sitting there, and I've sent a note, I think I sent it today. If not, I need to send it today, to the BBR guys to talk about this. So there were a series of dates in the lead up to this weekend, which are completely doable. They start November 13 around getting some people through the system. So as long as they are comfortable to do it, and a couple of other things, we are happy to put it on and make sure, like I'm sure there's going to be complications around it. We'll just overcome them. But what we really need to know is who actually has people, because I don't want to be doing this if it's only for a couple of people. I'm better off sending someone to those couple of people, because there's a lot of effort that obviously goes into this. So I'm going to be sending a follow-up note after this to everybody to say who has actually got people who need to do this or genuinely want to do it. And I just want you also to weigh up, are they ready? We've been off the mat for a while now. And are they physically ready to do this, and mentally ready as well? I know some people, like, this is what I was talking about, the rush at it. I think as club owners and coaches, you probably need to be guiding people along this as well. So, because I think everyone knows the aim of this is to have them pass, not to fail. So we really want to make sure that they're in good shape. So don't rush it is my thing. I'm sure everyone will understand the reasons why. So yeah, and then local competitions, I've started that conversation today about who wants to do what. So I know there's one on the Coffs Coast, there's the Hunter one, there's a couple of junior tournaments as well. So we'll decide whether or not they want to go ahead with it. And if they do, they'll have our full support with everything that goes with it. Yeah. So just, yeah, start that conversation around November. It's about 6 weeks. So you're the coaches. You're going to tell me if you think that is good. And we'll work with Joe and the guys to make sure that we can make that happen at a time that's relevant. I think once you're getting into December, it's going to be a nightmare just for getting people to actually commit to being there on a day to do it. So, and for the regional guys around that, I really want to know about you guys, because if we can somehow get someone to you as well, if there's enough of you, we're very conscious of the fact that these trips to Sydney are expensive, and also just too that coming to Sydney might be a bit frightening for some people at the moment. I just want to help manage that. So really keen to know what's going on in the regional areas. So on that, this is literally the last slide, is I'm going to follow up tomorrow just with some questions. I can only go forward if I know the information. Otherwise, I make assumptions and they might not be right. And we need you guys to really answer that. So we're going to request some numbers. What I wanted to suggest, if everyone's up for it, is that we have these chats maybe once a month up until Christmas, just to check in with everyone. It just saves sending a million emails as well. I'm always here if you want to pick up the phone, but yeah, just a casual kind of catch up. I can tell you anything that's going on. And we can chat about any challenges as well, because you guys are probably going to be the experts on overcoming the challenges. If someone's going through it, I guarantee you someone's been through it before, so we can start to open up that as a forum. But on a final note, I really want you all to come to the Congress. It's going to be okay, we've got to get through all the boring stuff. Let's be real. But, and no one thinks, I'm the one who thinks a good AGM is a short AGM. So that will be my mandate, to get through all the governance stuff. But we're going to be sharing with you quite a lot of work that, Phil and I and Heidi and probably a team of about 10 people collectively have been working on to help us grow judo next year into different markets and things like that. So like it or not, you can take it or leave it, but I think that there's some really great stuff in there, and I just really want you to be able to see it and hear it from us firsthand. And that will be the day that it all kind of comes to life, which will be really cool. I'm actually really excited about it and really proud of the work that's been done by everybody to get it to this point. So I will expect to see attendance on my system for the annual Congress to go right up. The other thing too, I just wanted to give a bit of a plug for is we have actually 2 spare directors positions, which you would have seen in the AGM. So if anyone is even remotely interested in becoming a director on the board, it really is quite a rewarding role. People I think sometimes get a bit scared of boards, but that is where you can really make a difference in the sport. And certainly you'll have the pleasure of working with Phil and I up until Christmas, and me after that, unlucky. But yeah, just have a think about that too. And even if it just, what are you doing, Rob Ivers, all over my screen? What is he doing? He's drawing all over the screen. Yeah, have a think about it, because it really is. And Kathy and Richard are just stepping down because Kathy needs a holiday, and I'm encouraging her to do that. And Richard's obviously really tied up with work. So no, they're not stepping down because I don't like it. So it's good. All right. Questions, fire it away. Or did I answer everything? Can you all just go to bed now?
Is Congress
Yes.
on Zoom? Or
It will be on Zoom, yeah. It will be on Zoom. Next year, I promise it'll be in a beautiful location with champagne and everything else.
Sorry, Stuart here from Newtown.
Yeah.
I have one question. Sorry, it only sort of came to mind after you were talking about the vaccine and I think the advice in terms of pointing out it's a government mandate sort of thing, and those words will be quite useful. My question, it might be jumping the gun and it might change 1st of December. Will we have a duty to disclose to other students or members of the club that there might be participants that are not vaccinated?
Stuart, that is a great question. I actually don't know the answer, but I'm willing to follow up for you, because you start to enter into privacy issues there. Yeah, so do you mind if I come back to you on that one?
Yeah, I'd imagine it's going to evolve as things open up, and if there's a backlash or not, hopefully there isn't. But if there is, and that the sort of people who don't want to get vaccinated, don't want to disclose it, do we need to know? Do we not need to know what's our roles and responsibilities as a club, and then as a club to our members, as much as to protect the club entity itself?
Yes, that is a really, really good point. I'll definitely keep at that one as well, because equally there are people who don't want to return, and this came up today. Volleyball's actually getting it a lot, that they don't want people to return if they are with unvaccinated people. So you're going to get both sides of the story here. Yeah, but it's a really good point, and I'll get the absolute best advice I can around that over the coming weeks. I think it will evolve as it gets closer. And look, we may have to take a stance as a sport, and it'll certainly be something we talk about at the board meeting next week. And at what point are we willing to make that stance, if at all? I really hope we can avoid it, to be honest. But, because I certainly don't want to inflict any of my personal views on it. Yeah. Okay, I'll definitely keep that one on the radar, Stuart. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot.
Anyone else? Just jump in, guys. I'm happy, even if you want to talk about something else. I'm more than happy.
Just on that regarding vaccinated versus unvaccinated. I actually read an article on news.com.au, obviously a quality news source, yesterday around how to have conversations with your friends about whether they're vaccinated or not. And albeit it's a bit of a different situation because when you're coaching a judo club and where you sort of got people there that are vaccinated or not, and you don't really know because it's kind of the elephant in the room. I found that article pretty handy just to kind of give you some conversation starters or some kind of dialogue around vaccination status, how to deal with some difficult conversations. Because obviously you're gonna get them. I know 2 parents at my judo club that are totally anti-vax, for example. And one of them has been pretty vocal about it, and I'm going to have a conversation with him at some point. But look, this article, I'll try and find it and send it on to you. I just think it was a pretty good way of shaping some.
That'd be great to share it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll see if I can find it. So
that's okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the general consensus, and correct me if I'm wrong, so I've read a couple of articles like that, and also have the pleasure of having a family member who is that, which, you know, personally I've been struggling with how to have a conversation about it because it always ends up in a fight. So the general consensus of the articles are about just having to respect it and not arguing about the point, because you both have very strong arguments from either side. So it's just about, okay, that's it. Thank you. Like, I respect it, you know, and trying to talk about something else. But yeah, because it's hard to solve that problem as to who's right and who's wrong. So yeah.
The PCYC in Albury, they've actually said that if you're unvaxxed, you're just not coming into the PCYC. So yeah. I don't even have that issue because if you're not vaxxed, you don't come in. That's it.
Yeah, that has generally been the consensus of most government-owned buildings as well. It'll be Hilly when we hit that 1st of December, whether things change or not, or whether they'll still hold that position. So hopefully they do, for your sake, because then you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, I mean, I guess the question will be for the people who in the clubs who are in their own premises, you know, whether you want to. And again, I'm not telling you what to do, but you should start to think about whether or not that is something you want to enforce or not. It's entirely up to you. Yeah. Did you want to ask something, Kerry?
I was just saying, are we allowed to have contact?
Yes.
So yes. Yep. So that is fine. So. Yep. That's not right, a problem. Yeah. So long as you overall keep the 20 to a class.
That's right,
and meeting that requirement, then you can still do
contact. There's certainly been, and that was asked today about can we go back to full proper sport, and the answer was yes. Yeah,
excellent.
So Thank you. Good. Yeah, you know, just try not to sweat all over each other.
It's unavoidable.
It's difficult.
After doing
go for it.
Are coaches included in those 20?
Yes, you're in a space. Yeah. That's why I mentioned about the other people in the room as well. Yeah. So if you're in a space, it's 4 square meter rule. So just be careful of that.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. I think I've gone through every single note that I'd written down because I added quite a few today after the meeting. So anyone else?
Yeah, so does are under 12s included in that 20? If they don't have to wear masks, are they still counted as?
They just say class sizes, David. Class sizes no greater than 20. So I'm going to say yes, they are included. Okay. I'll triple check for you though, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident that they're I'm 99.9% recurring confident that they're included.
They're included, yeah.
You counter to the 4 square meter rule if they were.
Yeah, I read it as they definitely are included.
The dispensation they get is on the mask, David.
Yeah. And I think that will be kind of the next evolution of this too, is, you know, vaccinating kids and things like that. When does that kind of kick in? But for now, it's not a concern. Yeah. That will be the next evolution of this at some point through next year. So, Phil, was there anything else that you kind of just think, oh, let's mention that as well. But I think I had everything covered.
No, I think you've covered it. You've covered the breadth of it, Beck. The thing is that from last year, the ideas of the safety plan shouldn't be new to you guys as clubs and women as clubs, because you did it all last year. It's just updating what you already have. The 4 square rule is not new. It's what we were doing last year. So a lot of this is sort of like taking you back to the start of the whole COVID pandemic, when we first had to close and then restart again. I think the big change this time around is 2 things. One is obviously the masks. There's a lot more focus on the masks from now on, and when they're on and when they're off. And the second thing, I think that will, to Beck's point about the 18th, most of the clubs have a strong number of kids. You're like skew towards the younger people in your club, and their parents will be looking at you, and they won't necessarily talk to you about it, but they're looking at how you behave and how your club behaves, and they'll make decisions about whether they think you're a safe place for their kids. So I think the 18th is a smart move in my mind, but every club has to make their own call on it.
Yeah. Just feel for parents right now. It's going to be first day.
Once I start, I have to shut up. There is one last thing. Just those that are keen for tournaments, don't forget that you've come off a huge break. Normally, you'd want 8, 10, 12 weeks of prep to be comp ready. I just don't, and I just don't think you got the time between now and Christmas to do it.
No, I agree.
Not my call, but my recommendation would be, guys, prepare for next year and let's make next year fantastic.
Certainly, it's the opinion of the tournament committee that we should hold off. But someone's busting to do it. I just want to make sure that they're well supported, and the fact that I've got people nodding saying, "Yeah, wait," probably will lead us to that place anyway. But I just want to make sure that we, give people the option and be courteous if they're going to try and do it. So. Yeah, I from a coaching perspective, I'd be probably looking to hold off and just start fresh in 2020,
We wouldn't be sending people.
Yeah. And that's what I don't want, Kerry. I don't want people to go to all this effort and it just be nothing. It's just going to be a terrible experience for everybody, and that's not what we want. I think
we want to keep them. We don't want to lose them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, agreed. So anyway, I'll come back to you on that. I just wanted to reach out to a few people first. So, sorry, mate, did you say something?
I was just going to suggest kind of in general to everyone to kind of probably for a few weeks even hold off Randori. People haven't done anything in ages, and I had an outdoor session with a few guys who hadn't done judo in ages, and one of them nearly tore an ACL a few days ago because I let them do. They insisted on doing Randori, and they're just not kind of conditioned for it at the moment. So that's just a suggestion to other people running clubs.
Yeah, I think this is where your duty of care, and you're all experienced coaches, and this is probably a time. I think, Phil, that was a great point around just the way you interact as well with your members during this time, and we're not the only ones talking to them. They've got school talking to them, they've got everyone talking to them at once. So nice, clear, simple comms is the way to go. But look, I'm really excited for you all. I actually can't wait to get you all back on the mat because I'm going to have a go. Like I've written it into my own KPIs that I will have a crack at judo. I'm worried about getting hurt. I'm going to say it because I'm a big girl. But I'm going to have a go.
Club and you'll be safe.
No, if you see the sport, has anyone watched surf boat rowing? That's the sport I play, so I'm not worried about getting hurt because that's probably the injuries I do have. That will probably flare up. So.
Mute Rob Ivers before he says something silly.
Yeah. Look out, Alan Broadhead. If Alan Broadhead's on, I'm coming to him first because he's the closest. So we'll look out.
We'll look after you, Beck, don't worry.
Thanks, John. I knew you would. And if not, I'm an ex-dancer, so I reckon I'll be the new kata champion. Just saying. Putting it out there that I'm going to win the kata world. I'm going to get kata into the Olympics. I'm going. So just thank you so much again. But I just want to say a quick congratulations, and she's probably going to be very embarrassed when I say this, but Kerry, I just want to say congratulations. So Kerry's been accepted into a Sport New South Wales course, fast track for female coaching. And the purpose of this course is to attract, obviously, and help develop more female coaches, especially towards Olympic sports, and getting them moving through that process. So a bit of a Zoom round of applause for Kerry, who was chosen to be a part of that. And next time it comes around, I will actually put it out there. And any of these development courses, there are so many around. That's why I kind of want to have these CEO catch-ups as well, because you might just want to jump in on one, or some of them are you get picked for it and things like that. But yeah, I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of it and things like that, so we can get more people through them, because yeah, it's really great. And I'm really pleased for you, Kerry, because I think that the learnings that come out of it will be really great. So
yeah, thank you.
Get you to that Olympic team, eh?
Mm.
All right, well, if that's all, I'm happy to close it off, and I'll send all this around tomorrow. I've recorded it, and yeah, any questions, please just reach out. But I look forward to seeing you all back on the mat very soon. Yay.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks, Beck. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye. Hey, John.